news already with what's been going on um, with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Um, it's been really shocking, devastating. Um, yeah, I just don't understand how we got here. So, yeah, I've been seeing it through social media, the news. Um, yeah, with the light of recent events, it brought out the worst people, which I had to unfollow and block. Unfortunately, it's sad how we got here. So, we'll be watching with what the latest updates are with with this situation.
We're going to go to that press conference we've been awaiting. FBI, local law enforcement. There's Kash Patel. I can't see who else is in the picture, but I'm sure that they will introduce themselves. We've been waiting for this for a long time. A lot of breaking developments tonight in terms of a recovered weapon. We have this new TMZ video that we've been airing for you. We know that they have palm prints. We know that they have fingerprints. We know that they have footprints. Let's listen in.
This evening, we have FBI Director Patel, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino, Special Agent in Charge Robert Bowles, Governor Spencer Cox, Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson, and Commissioner Anderson, as well as, Commissioner Bo Mason, as well as some local partners here present with us today. Governor will kick off.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here tonight. We appreciate the media and the partnership we have with you in helping us to get information out to the public so that we can catch this assassin and hold him accountable. We are going to share a portion of the video and that we have of the suspect, as well as some new stills. Those have already been released, but we want to make sure that they get as much attention as possible so that we can get help from the public in tracking down this evil human being. So we're going to cue up the video right now. Show that. I've asked Commissioner Bo Mason if he would narrate to you what is happening in this video.
Thank you, Governor. Bo Mason, Commissioner for the Utah Department of Public Safety. If you look up to the top left, you'll see the building where the shooter was proned out in the top left corner. We're going to play that video and I'll narrate as we walk through that. So here you see the suspect ran behind that upper building. He's going to come out on the right.
Yeah, on social media, I saw video from people inside and they heard running on the rooftop, so it was him.
And then dropped down to the ground. As he did that, he left some palm impressions, smudges, and some places we're looking to collect DNA. There's a shoe imprint where we believe the suspect is clearly identified as wearing Converse tennis shoes. Again, we'll replay that again so you can get another view of that. It's important to note his black t-shirt, his black pants, and there appears to be some white on the soles of those Converse tennis shoes. Those are all identifiable items that we're looking for. In the stills that are going to follow this, you're going to see a very distinctive t-shirt with an American flag and appears to have an eagle on it. There's also a baseball cap with a triangle on it and a pair of sunglasses. All distinctive, all things that we would ask the public to look for and try to identify if they know someone.
Yeah, I really hope they're
has those
going to
items,
catch this guy.
wearing those
I
items.
really do.
We're looking for all that information. Here you see the suspect after dropping off the building. He moved around across this grass area, around the parking lot. We're going to pan to the right. After he crosses the street, this is where he moves over into the wooded area. This is the video evidence that we utilize to track his movements and to locate that firearm in that wooded area following the discovery of this evidence. Good. You want to go to the stills? So here's the still photographs. I mentioned these have been enhanced. So these are slightly different than what we introduced earlier. Please pay close attention to the t-shirt, like I said, very distinctive with that American flag and that eagle. The hat with the triangle and the sunglasses. Give me the next picture, please. The backpack as well. All identifying features that we're hoping the public can help us identify and lead us to this suspect. Next picture. And again, there's a better picture of the hat with that triangle logo, and again, the t-shirt. Blue jeans, and you get a good look at those Converse tennis shoes as well. We have pushed these out, we'll continue to push these out, and we just ask for the public's cooperation through the public. The
Some
tips that
people
have been
believe
coming
it's
in
professional.
are giving us our next leads and enabling us to continue to further this investigation.
Yeah, it's starting to look like
We've
it
had
now.
great cooperation from the public, and we're continuing to ask for that as we move forward. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Governor Cox.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Mason. I want to thank Director Patel and his team. It's great to have them on the ground with us tonight. We've had several briefings, and he's had an opportunity to walk the crime scene. We appreciate our local law enforcement here. Again, we have working hand in hand with the state and with the FBI as we move forward with this investigation. Now, just give you a little more. We will not be taking any questions at this time. We're giving you the latest information we have, being as transparent with everything that we have. But I do want to share a couple things that I think are important. We cannot do our job without the public's help right now. The public has answered our call for action. So far, we've received more than 7,000 leads and tips. I would just note that the FBI hasn't received this many digital media tips from the public since the Boston bombing. This case also highlights the dedication of our law enforcement community. We have 20 federal, state, and local law enforcement partners that are working shoulder to shoulder to find the person who committed this horrific crime. With their support, we've completed nearly 200 interviews. As you're aware, as has already been reported, the FBI is offering a $100,000 reward for information leading to the identification and arrest of the person responsible for the murder of Charlie Kirk. We also continue to implore the public to support this investigation and come forward with any information. We are truly hopeful that this video and new photos will lead to even more tips. We are processing. We have an incredible team, a state and federal team working together to process those tips. We are going out in tandem to interview any potential person of interest or suspects. But we need as much help as we can possibly get. Any videos or photos that you might have, the public, should be submitted to our digital media tip line, which is www.fbi.gov/Utah Valley shooting, all lowercase. Again, that is fbi.gov/Utah Valley shooting, all lowercase. You can also provide general tips about the shooting by calling 1-800-CALL-FBI. That's 1-800-CALL-FBI, or at tips.fbi.gov. This is, I would just say, this is not just a local matter here in Utah. We have people all over the country that are helping to bring this perpetrator to justice for Charlie Kirk and his family. I will just add as well that, as was mentioned, there is a lot of forensic evidence that is being processed right now at both the state lab and the federal labs, federal lab on the East Coast. So we are working in tandem together. I would also just add a word of note for those people who are spending so much time on social media.
Yeah, I have.
I think Charlie said it best, that when things get bad, we should put our phones down and spend a little time with our families.
Yeah,
there is a tremendous amount of disinformation. We are tracking.
Yeah, we have to spend some hours in the media.
Our team, the state team, and I'm sure the federal team as well. What we're seeing is our adversaries want violence. China, we have bots from Russia, China, all over the world that are trying to instill disinformation and encourage violence. I would encourage you to ignore those, to turn off those streams, and spend a little more time with our families. We desperately need some healing. We'll have more to say about that in the days and weeks to come. More than anything, we are going to catch this person. Last thing I will just say is we've been working with our attorneys, getting everything that we need, affidavits ready, so that we can pursue the death penalty in this case, and that will happen here in the state of Utah. Again, to the public, to those who are grieving, thank you for your prayers. I know we are feeling those prayers. I know the Kirk family is feeling those prayers as well. We pray that God will bless our nation at this very dark time. We can start healing by finding this perpetrator and holding him accountable, and we need your help to do that. Thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to support.
Joining me now is independent journalist Avita Duffy Alfonso. Avita, it is just hard to believe the words that we're saying and seeing on our screen, remembering the legacy of Charlie Kirk, a search for his shooter, ongoing assassination, our coverage of this. As a young person, how are you remembering him this morning?
Listen, it's been horrific. I was sobbing yesterday. I was sobbing this morning as I'm thinking about what I'm going to say. Charlie Kirk was a martyr for his faith, for Christ, for the soul of our country. As a young conservative on a college campus not too long ago, he gave us courage. Our ideas are not platformed in the classroom. We're bullied by other students. I received threats on my own life as a student for being a conservative and opposing socialism. Charlie Kirk platformed our ideas. He modeled civil discourse. The other thing that he did is he connected with Gen Z on such a deep level, deeper than any conservative thought leader or politician ever has, because he recognized that we aren't just a lost cause. We're not a generation that has been brainwashed and we're not worth looking at. He talked to us about debt. He talked to us about our ability to own a home in the future, to pay for rent, to pay for our groceries, the loneliness epidemic, our ability to start families, to get married and have children. He cared about us, he listened, and he gave us a different path. So many of us are falling into the clutches of Marxism, the Zoran Mamdani, the AOC, Bernie Sanders, the Marxist future that the university system itself is purporting for young people. He went into the belly of the beast, he went on these college campuses, and he evangelized, quite literally, to save the soul of our country, and for that I couldn't be more grateful to Charlie and everything that he's done for our generation.
Yeah, and Avita, you tried to start a Turning Point chapter on your college campus. What were you told at the time?
Yeah, I mean, this was incredible. So I tried to start a Turning Point USA chapter because I was noticing hostility on my campus from my left-wing peers. I said, we need to have a place where we can platform different perspectives. And the student body government shot down my proposition for a Turning Point chapter because they said it would incite violence. That violence, of course, is violence from left-wing students who would be opposed to a Turning Point USA chapter. So I think it's really interesting, as you see what Charlie was warning about before he died. He talked about assassination culture, the way that young people cheered on CEO killer Luigi Mangione, the way that people were celebrating the assassination attempts on Trump's life, the 2028 Summer of Love, which was encouraged by Democrat politicians at the very highest levels of government. Even some Republicans, I might add. He noticed that the left has a propensity for violence, that there's a history here. If you look at what Mao did, what Stalin did, Lenin, and throughout human history, leftists have had a propensity for violence because of the world that you're living in is chaotic and scary. Then they can seize control and maintain power. Charlie understood that. He talked about it incessantly, and I think that his death is the greatest warning of what we're on the precipice of if we don't turn into a different direction and start to actually embrace the values that America was really founded on.
I mean,
he is all for courage.
I was just what an absolute loss for for his wife, for his children. There's a video that we've been showing where his little daughter runs towards him after hosting Fox and Friends weekend
I really
with his
felt
mom.
bad for the
And
kids, man.
you see just jumping into her hero father's arms and a big smile on Charlie's face. And that was just a few weeks ago. It's also
Yeah.
just a remarkable loss of Vita for the future of our country. I mean, where does the young conservative movement go from here without him?
We can't be intimidated out of the public square. I think there's going to be, and I felt it myself, right, fear when I saw the news. You don't want to go out in public anymore. You don't want to keep talking. You don't want to keep speaking out, but we have to. What happened to Charlie is the greatest sign that we have to keep talking. We have to keep the debate going, because if we don't, you're going to continue to see the polarization and the violence against neighbors and friends that cannot be sustained. We won't have a country if this doesn't end. And so I think it's a call for courage, and it's a call to stay in the public square.
That's right, a call for courage, a call for action, and a call to continue. I mean, Charlie always said that Jesus was the most important thing. He loved that there was a Christian revival in this country as well. He encouraged young people to live a God-fearing life, and they did. And it just didn't feel like his work was done yet. God has a plan for all of us, and we will never understand why things happen when they do or what that plan really is. But we do know that he made a remarkable mark on our country politically and the future of it in the 31 years that he was here on this earth. Independent journalist Evita Duffy Alfonso, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Obviously, that was President Trump just now, unscripted, taking questions from the whole world. The urgent manhunt still underway for Charlie Kirk's assassin. We could have an answer to who did it. We certainly have a photo. This is the photo we all been looking at all day. It was delayed to be released. It caught everybody by surprise. Why delay it? But the person of interest you're looking at, they are offering $100,000 for his capture. We cannot, meanwhile, we continue to mourn the loss of a husband, of a dad, 2 young children, and a generational talent, Charlie Kirk, powerful voice, who never shied away from respectful debates.
There's more people that agree with me than some people would actually believe, and they come out of the woodwork when I do stuff like this. We record all of it so that we put it on the internet so people can see these ideas collide. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war ends. Because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their people.
Yeah, and here he is persuading college kids on campus. Just listen.
Let's think about this more deeply, because I can tell you're smart. Are you a voter?
I am a voter.
Oh, so I vote and you vote. So I'm talking to voters in this country that will determine the future of Western civilization. That's where we are on different planets. And that's okay. I'm not trying to make fun of you. I'm trying to be graceful in the way that we're going about this.
Pancakes or waffles?
Oh, pancakes all day.
No.
100%.
No.
Hello, Charlie. So,
What's your name?
none of your business, unfortunately.
Nice to meet you. Know your business.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
And that's why some of those videos went viral, because it was unscripted, it was real, and it was a legitimate debate. People that didn't like him lined up to meet him. Harold, this is a page out of the Harold Ford playbook. You like debating people that don't agree with you, and you don't get angry, and you listen. I mean, and this guy did it with a smile.
He did. Look, I'm still moved by all this like we all are, and I'm hopeful that we'll be able to come back and maybe before the show is up or before the night is up, we'll have more details about this guy, this killer. Each political base, it's interesting, Brian, each political base, Republican and Democrat, their extremes and the loudest in their party, always urging politicians and those representing them to fight. Democrats said, we want to fight. Even Republicans want to fight.
Wouldn't Gavin Newsom just say that directly? It's time to punch them in the mouth?
All of them. I'm saying it goes on both sides. Now, I watched Senator Mark Wayne Mullen and Josh Gottenheimer earlier today. Both acknowledged that both sides do this. The energy that we need, and what I hear from Charlie, and one of the reasons I didn't agree with him on very much, at least none of the other things he expressed publicly, where we did agree, and I think is indisputable, is that we love our country. And we just expressed it differently. And I love the fact that he was willing to have those kind of conversations with people. To your point, you're nice to say that about me. But you never hear the energy and the base of each of the parties, urging politicians to solve. Everyone wants to fight. And I think one of the legacies and one of the things this young man will be remembered for is that he had a fervor and he had an energy, but he wanted that back and forth. Even if the back and forth got a little contentious, it was civil and oftentimes very serious. And that's what our political, not only discourse needs, that's what our political culture needs more of. Every time I listen to him, and I didn't agree with him very much, but he always seemed like he was trying to get to an answer. And in politics today, I think one of the great failings and shortcomings of our political class on both sides is that everyone is just trying to settle a score. Everyone will say, I beat you on that point, not remembering or easily forgetting that we represent people. And that they're real people who are going to be impacted by these things. And I hope that those who celebrate this young man's life over the next several days, and I know the country is going to celebrate him with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, that is one of the things that is talked. That's what I heard from Katie, and what I've heard from all around the table. That's this young man's legacy. And I hope Democrat, Republican alike are able to learn something from him.
Katie, the other thing is he was winning the argument. If you think about, and not until he passed away after the assassination that I fully realized it, because I was there early. They just said, this guy Charlie Kirk has got this group. You want to speak in front of him? I thought, okay, I couldn't believe the size of the crowd and how young they were. They told me about his movement, but I didn't see much movement in the electorate. It took a couple of election cycles, but now he's got the majority. But he did it by not having big parties. He had better ideas, and he made it cool to want to be part of his posse.
And he gave everyone, but particularly his mission was to reach the younger generations an alternative, a better way to approach their own American dream. And he was effective. If you look at the numbers, just in terms of political issues, Democrats in 2023 had men 18 to 29 years old by 26 points. In 2025, Republicans had that same group by plus 18. So he was changing hearts and minds on policy issues by offering solutions. He talked about marriage, he talked about the American dream, he talked about things you can do to better your life. And he was brilliant. He didn't go to college. He was constantly going to college campuses, not just debating, but teaching people so many detailed things about his Christian faith, about the economy, about world history. He would go to the UK and debate at the Oxford Union on very serious, deep topics. He was never superficial in any of his discussions with people who agreed with him or people who disagreed with him. And he tried to offer some clarity, mostly through his faith, to young people who felt like they had none, that they didn't have opportunity in this country. They didn't know right from wrong. And he's able to do that. And with his attitude towards all of this, I find it just so admirable that so many people, including me, struggle with it, is he was so resolved in his mission and that everything would be okay. And he walked into the most violent, in terms of the caustic nature of campuses around the country, and he walked into them willingly, and he talked knowing he had a wife and a family and that the threats were there and having to have security. And he did it anyway because he believed it would be okay, and eventually his faith would protect him and it would pay off. And so it's paid off politically, and he's just touched so many people throughout his time, and obviously it was cut short.
Right, and with all this data, out of all the tapes I've seen and the sparring sessions that I witnessed and the interactions, what I'm going to remember is that video that when the camera went down and the show was over and his appearance at Boxing Fest the weekend, and I think his 2-year-old daughter.
And 4, I think. And he was a loving father, and he encouraged and inspired a lot of young men to want to be fathers. You look at over the past 5 years even, how the numbers of young men who say, I want to be a dad, I want to be I want to have a commitment, I want to go to church, I want to be a good man. A lot of that you can say, okay, wait, if you think about how many followers he had and how fervent they were, it's so interesting. Plus, he was doing something on college campuses that the professors are not doing. He was providing a forum for civil debate and in a fun way, and willing to take any question. That's not happening
there's
in an
nothing
election.
wrong with having a conversation with people who disagree. That's what it's all about.
Okay. Now, watching all these other videos, I'm starting to understand more how the younger generation saw him even more intimately, right? They're watching these videos on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, wherever they were seeing them. And I think about how they had access to somebody like this in the medium of their time. We had Alex P. Keaton of Family Ties on NBC. I mean, I was like, oh, that's a conservative guy.
Yeah.
And he was an outsider. And I was like, that's what it felt like when you were a younger conservative 25 years ago. Now, it is pretty amazing to think that it is a cool thing to be. And I will maybe make this last point. Today was going to be heavy no matter what, because it's the anniversary of 9/11, 24th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So on September 11, 2001, we felt like we could all come together because there was an enemy that wanted to destroy our way of life, that hated the idea of freedom of Western civilization. And now you get to September 11th, 2025, and it's extra heavy and very chilling because you think the enemy might be within. And that's a choice. And I feel like Americans have this very fragile state where we could go in either direction. I hope we go in the direction of more civil debate. But I find this to be a very scary time. I hope that they catch this guy quickly and that we figure out a way to protect others who are out there bravely communicating.
I tell you, it sounded grim and very well said. It sounded really grim last night that we were going to catch this guy at all. I thought it was going to be like the bombing, it takes years. But the fact that they found the gun, found the casing, they know exactly what happened. It's evidently writing on the casing. They know he's got blue jeans, and they know he's got that shirt on and those glasses. So hopefully people said, I know that guy. Greg.
You mentioned civil debate. The word, you need two sides to be civil. And I agree with everything Harold said except both sides. And I'm going to tell you why. And I'll tell you why. You know, the Democrats, they didn't target politicians, they targeted people. You know, I will never forget Joe Biden in Philly in that dark speech. You know, Tesla owners, they're not politicians. ICE agents aren't politicians. Trump supporters, demonized by the millions, they're not politicians. I mean, Trump went after individual celebrities and names. Never went after the voter. I'm not saying that the Democrats killed Charlie Kirk. That would be crazy. I see them more like an absentee parent whose violent offspring did. You know, they knew that their parenting skills were bad because we told them about it on this show. We warned them. That's what drives me crazy. Is we warned them about the rhetoric over and over again. Even after attempts on Trump, the Tesla vandals, which are the product of the media and the Democrats' direct language about Elon Musk, and they still didn't change their path. Right now, a lot of them, and I exclude Harold because Harold has always been sincere and legit from day one. Right now, Democrats are playing catch up. They're saying the right things. They're like the parents of a mass shooter, expressing sympathy for the victims. But they knew, they bought them the guns. Now, I just want to, I didn't mean to say that. I want to talk about something that I noticed about Charlie Kirk that personally means a lot to me, and that is his faith. You know, from his faith, something amazing comes from it that I never really understood. You know, people will say that he's fearless, but what if he wasn't fearless? What if he was doing all of this with a measure of fear? How brave is that? The fact that he's going out there with the knowledge, he's not fearless at all. And that for me is a lesson in fear and in self-doubt that, like, you know, as someone who used to take a drink before doing a live event in front of thousands, or cradling a glass of wine while doing book signings, or getting blasted before boarding a flight, you know, it was a lack of faith in my ability to handle fear. This would be I had to do this thing before I could handle something that scared me. He did something every day that might have scared him, and you couldn't tell. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can't.
You have to stand up for what's right.
We regrettably, unfortunately, have a history of violence in American politics. And just as recently as midway, early part of the year, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, had his house caught on fire. The Minnesota weren't going to lose. But what I'm saying is, but to say Democrats, President Trump, who is a friend of mine, has said that Democrats are terrible.
He's talking about the leaders. Your party demonized the voter. And we can't, I mean,
Yeah.
I differ with you on this. We're great pal, but I differ with you on this, and I think this is not the path we want to go down at this very moment. That's the only thing I caution everybody.
screw you, Harold, in your face.
The only other thing, you're the first one to make MAGA, or try to make MAGA a negative word with Joe Biden, and it didn't work. Because then they used that word and they wrote themselves right to the White House.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Despite this situation, and I hope we'll stick together.